It's time for the Daily Stand Up Podcast presented by AgileDad with your host, Lee Henson. Without any further ado, let's get started. I know we can all be guilty of bad habits from time to time, but I thought I'd spend an episode here on our Agile, not so Agile episode of the Daily Stand Up Podcast to talk about 10 unhealthy habits that we can quit in order to have a better life. And I found probably 100 articles about this. And it's one of these things where I had to narrow down to the 10 that I thought were the most important. So I'm going to give you my list of 10, and hopefully, you'll be able to admit guilty as charged, and we'll be able to come together and see if we can hold hands and walk through this together and overcome some of these things. So here we go. Coming at number one is gossiping. If you're constantly finding a way to talk bad about others, it's going to eventually catch up with and look bad on you. You need to make sure that you try to avoid idly talking about other people. As silly as it sounds, it's still something that we do. Even if someone is acting completely horrible or they're doing something that doesn't align with our values or moral standards, we shouldn't gossip about it or tell people, oh, did you see what happened? I mean, it's just in the end, we appear obnoxious or arrogant and it's irresponsible to talk about other people this way. So I think the best thing we can do is instead of spreading rumors, we should try to replace those with accolades about other people. So if you ever find yourself in a position where, oh my goodness, I got to tell somebody what Susie did, instead of that, say, I want to tell somebody what Sheila did. Did you see what Sheila did? She went above and beyond and did XYZ. If we can start talking about the good things that are happening in life and stop focusing on the gossip, it's going to make the world a better place. All right, here comes number two. This one I'm not guilty of. It's called doom scrolling. That's not my name. Somebody else named it that. But this is where you spend hours on TikTok, Instagram, X, wherever you are, and you're just scrolling and reading and watching videos. It's one of those things where you're craving that instant satisfaction. So you're looking for your fix. But the truth is, get out and do something. One of the things that I love about my iPhone is that every week I get a screen time report and it tells me your screen time was down this percent or up this percent. And even though it may sound trivial to you, that's a good catalyst for me to say, oh my goodness, did I spend that much time doing this type of stuff last week? And some of the things that I do is I make sure if we're having dinner together as a family that we lock away our phones, or at night when we go to bed that we put our phones away and don't use them. And I think there's nothing worse than sitting next to somebody and everybody's got their electronic screen on. Have a conversation, for crying out loud. Talk about something. Play a board game. Do something. Just get away from the endless scroll. Now, I will say that if you need some private or personal time to play a quick game or to check on the news or to see how your favorite sports team's doing, there's no harm in that. But it doesn't need to be an hour upon hour adventure. All right, number three, stop talking over people. Talking over someone is simply impolite, period. It's disrespectful. You shouldn't do it. The majority of the time when you do this is trying to assert dominance. Now, I have been guilty of this by accident, so let me explain what I mean by that. Sometimes when I'm out in Utah, our home is up in the mountains and there's a delay, like in cell phone signal. So when I hear a gap in a conversation, sometimes I'll go to speak and only to learn that the other person wasn't finished speaking. By the time I start, the other person's already speaking, and I feel bad because it appears as if I was trying to talk over them. But this is a rare thing. You don't need to tell me I'm a jerk when that happens because I'll stop myself and say, oh, I am so sorry. And I'll explain the situation because in no way am I trying to be a jerk. But you need to make sure that other people know that you are respectful of their time, that you're respectful of what they have to say, and that you're not just listening with the intent to respond, but that you're listening with the intent to understand. That's a key difference there. All right. How about number four? Not investing. Now, this one's interesting. I told you I was going to make it a little personal. I know some people that are near and dear to me, dear friends, dear family members, that refuse to invest their money. They'll keep it in a savings account. They'll put it underneath their mattress, whatever they have to do. And it's not building a future for them. One of the things I tell people is if you don't trust yourself, find a fiduciary, a financial advisor. You don't have to have a large amount of money to do that. And have them help you understand how stocks work, how mutual funds work, how an IRA works. And what I can tell you is there are lots of self-guided programs you can do now where you can invest very small amounts of money to practice. There's even some that you can do for free where you're using funny money, fake money, and it shows you if you had invested what you would have done. And I think that these are powerful tools because they help you engage better in investing and not fear it. Okay, number five, something you should avoid, spending your savings. Your savings isn't just free money. I think it's sad. I had the opportunity to go shopping for some groceries, and I was in Walmart, and I saw they had a tax service there at the front of the store, and they said, "We'll give you a loan for up to this percentage of your tax return, so you can have it right now." Or these paycheck, payday, cash loan advances. You can have your money now. And what this is telling me is the strong desire to have everything now is leading to people spending money that they could have saved or that you could have invested. It's important to have $1,000 emergency fund. It's important to have 3 to 6 months of your salary saved. This way, in case of an emergency or in case of something where you do need money, you have the money you need when you need it. Now, there are occasions where you do have to dip into your savings, and that's okay. If you had a bad month or something bad happened or the AC broke, who knows, right? Just you have to have those funds available to help you because you shouldn't have to go into debt for everything. Okay, let's talk about number 6. Poor sleep hygiene. Now, this one's interesting. Do you have a sleeping routine? Okay, I do. So, once again, confession, you're going to learn a little bit about me. I have sleep apnea. So, what does that mean? I get to sleep at one of those beloved, joyous CPAPs. Now I'm going to blow your mind. I haven't missed a night since I've owned it. Because when I wake up in the morning, I feel better and it gives me energy, right? Yeah, it's a pain in the butt to have hundreds of pounds of pressure blowing in your nose and mouth all night long. Yeah, it sucks to have to wear it. But guess what? I know that it's giving me a consistent sleep pattern. And, sometimes bedtime just isn't a sexy time for me. When you walk in and see me with this contraption on my face, it's one of these things where if you get the right level of sleep, if you're sleeping for 6+ hours, the goal should be 7+ hours. I think 7 hours is a healthy amount of sleep. But for some people, you need more. Some people may need less. But what I'm trying to say is make sure you get a good night's sleep in, because if you do, you'll definitely feel better for doing it. And it'll help you with things like weight loss, metabolism, and other things. You'd be surprised. The other thing about sleep is make sure you don't get on a device right before you go to bed. So part of sleep hygiene is putting your cell phone in another room or putting on a charger out of your reach. So that way you're not constantly grabbing your phone to check on things. What I found is if you do this, it's going to help you sleep through better. Okay. Number 7, probably my most important one, procrastinating. I ask myself all the time, am I happy with the way I'm spending my time? And this is where we fall into the trap. There are good things that we can do at our time. There are better things that we can do at our time. And there are best things that we can do at our time. Good things would be spending more time at work to get caught up or get ahead so that we can show the boss how much we are engaged in our job. A better thing might be reserving time each week to go on date night with our spouse, significant other, or partner, and to have date nights with our kids and to have family councils and talk to our kids about things that are happening. A best use of our time might be giving back. Once we've given our time to our family and given our time to our kids, give time to those who need it. Donate your time, your talents, your powers to help uplift others who may be in a less fortunate circumstance than you are. And I think that if you added up all the hours we spend on Netflix, TikTok, Instagram, Facebook, etc., we have more than enough time to do these things. Find some spiritual grounding. Find something that's going to help us be a better person, and stop procrastinating. Do what you need to do now so that you don't feel like you need to do it later. Okay, number 8, stop being late. I hear people say all the time, oh, I'm not late. I'm just fashionably late. Just a few minutes. No, you made somebody else wait. You need to be respectful of other people's time. You should never be late to things. And that's one of my big pet peeves. If I'm not 10 minutes early, I feel like I'm 30 minutes late, right? It's just, I don't like being late to anything. And I think that when you're late, it shows that you're disorganized or that you're disrespectful of other people's time. And I think that if you want to stop annoying other people and you want to save yourself the hassle of giving an explanation, don't make being late a habit. Make being on time a habit, or make being early a habit. And if you do that, you're going to have more people who are happy about your presence and understand your dedication, and you're just going to be happier in general. All right, let's go to number 9. Number 9 is kind of an obvious one. Stop drinking and or smoking. Now, when I say drinking, I'm not talking about water, obviously. And when I'm saying smoking, if you're just a good-looking individual, I'm not talking about that either. What I'm talking about is smoking, like cigarettes, cigars, vaping, pipes, etc. What I'm talking about is drinking, alcohol, things that are going to affect your ability to make clear, conscious decisions, things that are going to tear down your body. It's obvious that these things are bad for you. We all know that. But we need to find ways to wean ourselves off of those so that we can be in control of our consciousness and so that we can have better control over our physical bodies. And finally, if at all possible, stop being sedentary. You hear the whole thing about 10,000 steps a day. I almost think that's demotivating. It's hard for me to get to 10,000 steps a day. But if somebody told me, make sure you take a 30-minute walk each day, or make sure you get up once an hour to take care of some things and do something, what you'll find is that by not being strapped to a chair all day long, not being a desk jockey, that you're going to lose weight, you're going to feel better, you'll have more energy. And I think you should set your goals to a realistic goal. Set your goal to something that you can achieve. That way you put some notches on your belt and eventually you'll get to 10,000 steps before you know it. But I think that breaking bad habits involves you setting realistic goals. And I think that sometimes people go down a path where they feel like it's impossible and they fall back into their bad habits. So pick something you want to stop doing and stop doing it. And just, it sounds so ridiculous, but you can cold turkey stop doing most of these things. And if you do that, I can promise you that you'll feel better and the blessings you receive will be tenfold. That's going to do it for this episode. I hope that you have an amazing weekend. And we look forward to hearing from you. If there's something you want to talk about, I'd love to get it on an episode next week. And as always, we encourage you to stay healthy, stay well, and stay agile, my friends. Until next time, do take care.